Welcome to FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Sammy Squires.
And I'm student meteorologist Sarah Converse.
We had another beautiful day here in Tallahassee.
It was really nice. There was barely a cloud in the sky since that high pressure system moved in after that cold front moved in earlier this week.
Yes, and you could definitely feel that dryness come through, whereas yesterday it was much more moist throughout the entire Big Bend area.
Yeah, but that's soon going to change once we get into the weekend. We'll have that forecast for you up in the show. We're going to have another cold front coming through. That's pretty much the big story that we have for tonight is that cold front coming through.
Yeah, and along with all the severe weather throughout the entire national view, there's a lot of rain and snow coming through, just a lot of precipitation in general.
Yeah, so we'll have that forecast for you, where we're going to be looking at, where in the southeast, where we're going to be under slight, enhanced risk for those thunderstorms. So we'll, and also explain what that means.
Yes.
And also for those golf enthusiasts, we also have a golf lab for you as well for the show. But for now, we're going to send it over to Michael at the wall.
Well, thanks, Sammy and Sarah. So they said there was a cold front that moved through yesterday, and it actually did. You can see our lows at 8 a.m. this morning. We got down to the middle 40s at 44 degrees. But with the sun, and the high sun angle allowed us to warm up rather quickly to 75 degrees this afternoon. It was actually warmer than yesterday, even though we were ahead of the cold front, all because of the sun angle for this time of year. Now, satellite and radar shows you nothing here locally, but we are monitoring the western part of the southeast as the moisture has returned into the southeast, and that's the makings of our next front that's going to move through our region Saturday, basically giving us that slight severe chance. We're going to get into that later in the show. Futurecast shows you how this front starts to form, and it begins to move east over the next few days, bringing some severe weather to Mississippi, Arkansas, and Tennessee. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. The 3-day forecast shows you how we do have that rain chance on Saturday, but for now, we're going to send it back to the desk.
Thank you, Michael. So we are going to pick our new state of the week, which we will be featuring next week.
Yeah, so today we have Iowa, but I think since you did it last time, I'm going to pick it. Hopefully it's a good one. Okay, I gotta not look. Drum roll. Oh, I got two. Wait, okay, let's see. Michigan. Okay, so that's kind of close to Iowa. It's a little bit more to the north. So Michigan, they're probably going to have like some lake effect snow probably. We might see some of that.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, because I mean, it is the month of April, but they've been seeing some snow up there from that cold front.
Everyone from the Northeast is kind of tired of that snow.
Yeah.
I know my family from Ohio, they're starting to get tired of that. But now we are going to take it over back to the local.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the forecast for Michigan next week. But let's take a look at our what it is right now, 75 degrees at the airport. But look at the dew point. It's really low because of that cold front moving through last night. And that also means a low relative humidity. And the reason why we're having those low dew point and relative humidity is the winds are coming out of the north compared to the south these last few days. Temperatures across the Big Bend, they're pretty warm. They're warmer than yesterday, as I said earlier, because of the more sun we had today. 75 here in Tallahassee, 75 in Monticello, and 78 down towards Wilma. Cooler down towards the coast where they're actually getting a little bit wind off the Gulf, but it's a very light wind, as you'll see by these wind speeds. Very light because we have high pressure nearby. That's the reason why we have these light, tranquil winds. You can see a little bit of convergence of the winds where they're coming from the east over Mariana, but out towards Destin, they're coming out from the south and the west. So there is a little convergence, but it's not much because high pressure is right over us. The dew points, as I said, are very low because of that cold front moving through our entire region yesterday. 33 in Tallahassee, 34 in Quincy, 43 in Bainbridge. So much lower compared to yesterday, really lower you can't exaggerate it much more than this. 30-degree drop in your dew point compared to this time yesterday in Tallahassee, 32 in Thomasville. The reason why Mariana and Bainbridge are less than the other places is because the cold front actually moved through their area this time yesterday. So that's why it's a little less up there compared to the rest of the region. Now, satellite and radar, it is clear because of high pressure situated right over not just Tallahassee, but the entire southeast. But when we expand out to show the rest of the United States, you can see the makings of our next frontal system here. You can see some rain showers out towards Little Rock and South Arkansas and down towards just west of Shreveport and New Orleans. That's the beginning of the next front that's going to impact our region as we head into Saturday. But for tonight, you don't have to worry about any rain. It's going to be absolutely clear. We're going to cool down rather gradually to the upper 50s as we go into midnight. But then we're going to see some changes as we go later into Friday and Saturday. Watch out towards Texas and Arkansas. You can see the makings of that next front. They're going to get some severe weather. They have an enhanced risk out there for tomorrow. So we'll get into that just a little bit. But the severe threat is much higher. But here in Tallahassee, it's going to weaken as it moves east. So we're only expecting a slight risk. But that doesn't mean to bring your guard down. This is still a pretty substantial risk for Tallahassee, and all it means is that we're expecting some damaging winds, hail, possible tornado, but it's a very low risk for a tornado. The summary of this is Saturdays is one of those days where you want to stay indoors, and that's what the week ahead shows you for the weekend. Saturday, an 80% chance of rain, not one of those days you want to spend outside. I'm actually going to be spending indoors watching TV. Sunday, we're going to keep the rain chances there, but then another front approaches our region as we head into Monday. But then by the time we go into the middle of next week, it's going to really warm up and clear out. So what do you think about that, Sarah?
It's going to be a really muggy weekend. I'm not really caring for that. I'm actually going to go home. So probably should keep your umbrella is probably going to be your best friend for this weekend. But for the southeast, as we zoom out, we're pretty much sitting nice in the 70s. We did get a little bit of a cool down since we had that cold front move through, but that's not really going to change. We will have that warm up. Right now, Tallahassee is sitting at 75. Montgomery is at 70. We're getting a little bit cooler up north in the southeast region at Nashville at 57, but we will see a cold front coming through, which will bring these temperatures a little bit at bay once this cold front comes through. With this wind flow, we're still in the southern southeast region. We're still under that high pressure. It's still residing in our area. So pretty much that's why it's clear outside. It's really nice outside, and the winds aren't as strong. Now down in South Florida, you do see that the winds are converging, so they're coming together, making lifting. That's why there's still going to be some scattered showers, some sea breeze storms down in South Florida. But as we go over to Oklahoma, that's where we're going to see that frontal system start coming through. That's why these winds are picking up. And as this moisture from the south is bringing up, really fueling this cold front as it's going to be coming through, which we can see in these dew points as Houston right now is really muggy outside because those winds are coming up from the south, bringing in that moisture. But for the rest of the southeast region, we're pretty much dry. The high pressure system is doing its job and is doing a good job at it, bringing these dew points pretty dry at 29 in Montgomery, 33 in Tallahassee. Down in South Florida, they're still a bit muggy as they're waiting for their dew points to dry out, and also that they're still seeing that convergence of those sea breeze storms, so that's why it's a little bit muggy still down there. But for the radar, as you can see, South Florida, there's those showers I was talking about with that convergence zone, but pretty much it's going to be some light showers. But as we go over to Oklahoma, there's where we see that storm system slowly going to be bringing as these winds from the Gulf are really going to be fueling this cold front, which we will see. It won't be coming to us by the weekend, but for Arkansas, they're going to see some slight and enhanced risk for some weather. As we can see in the futurecast, there it starts building up. When you see those orange and reds, that's where you're going to get those severe thunderstorms. So that's, as the Storm Prediction Center is saying, for parts of Arkansas and Louisiana, they're seeing some enhanced risk out there. But for Tallahassee area, once it moves over, it's not really going to do much. We're going to be under slight, so we're still going to be seeing some yucky weather out. So probably going to stay indoors for that. But for tonight, the cloud cover will start to move over. Tallahassee at 61, Montgomery at 61 as well. And we still see some rain chances out into the west. But for tomorrow, it's going to warm up. Tallahassee is at 80, all around pretty much in the 80s. A few colder up in Nashville at 59. So it's pretty much going to be a bit warm day. But for the Masters, which Michael's going to talk more about, pretty much a warm up, but then that storm's going to really bring some bad chances for some delays. But for now, I'm going to send it over to Michael, who's going to talk about more about the Masters.
Well, thanks, Sarah. So, Sarah did refer to the Masters being this weekend. If you watched our show all this week, we've been talking about it basically nonstop. But let's take a look at how wind impacts the Masters, in particular the 12th hole, because of where it's located in the golf course. So, the 12th hole is part of Amen Corner. It's the actually the south corner of the golf course, and a lot of the winds just swirl in that region. And because of that, this is the actual how the hole looks. You can see all the trees and canopy behind the green, and that actually impacts the wind a lot. It causes it to swirl, and it could be calm in one area, but in another area, it's actually much more windier. So why is that? Why does that happen? It makes the hole difficult, obviously, because you don't really know what the wind is. It swirls around it. Some people use the flag from 11 to figure out what the wind is, but that's not a really good gauge. Other people use the trees, but that's not really a good gauge either. It's so difficult that it's more difficult than the island green at TPC Sawgrass. And it's also the lowest point of the golf course. And so because of that, it can be cooler than the rest of the golf course. And when you have a temperature gradient where you have warmer weather somewhere and a little bit cooler weather somewhere else, that causes wind to form actually. So we call it a microclimate, where that region has its own type of weather compared to the rest of the course. And so it makes for some difficult play on that 12th hole. Surprisingly, two people were smart enough to do a study on this. These two people, Rajat Mittal and Neda Yugup, pardon for my pronunciation, but they were two professors from Johns Hopkins who did a study on this. They used different wind speeds, different wind directions to figure out how the golf ball is impacted on this 12th hole. And so they say using the surroundings of grass to figure out doesn't help. The tree canopy, because the ball stays below the tree canopy, it plays a huge role. And the northwest wind and the southwest wind are the most difficult in terms of playing the hole. So these are the results of the study, and so we are expecting wind in Augusta National this weekend, and so the best golfers in the world have to deal with that this weekend. But for now, let's send it back out to the wall.
Thanks, guys. Pretty much back to me with currently right now in Tallahassee it is 75. Sorry for that, I was choking up on my words. Dew point is dropping at 33, so it's pretty dry outside, so it's chapstick season, so make sure you have your chapstick and put it on, because these dew points are going to start dropping, but once we get that frontal system coming through, these dew points will rise. So just keep the chapstick with you for now. But for Tallahassee right now, local temperatures are in the 70s, so it's really nice outside. So it's pretty comfortable out, probably room temperature like 75 in Tallahassee, 73 in Quincy, and 78 in Wilma. So pretty nice throughout all the Big Bend area, but it will warm up as we get on to tomorrow. Wind speeds are pretty calm since that's one of the jobs of the high pressure, to keep it clear and nice and dry outside. Tallahassee seeing 6, so it's a little bit calm winds. It's not too crazy. Your hair is not blowing, ladies, not blowing too crazy all over the place. So pretty nice throughout. There's that dew point, one of the jobs of that high pressure system, making it really dry outside. 34 in Quincy, 33 in Tallahassee, so pretty dry all around as that cold front did move out of our area, bringing these dew points down, and it's really nice outside. Radar, another job of that high pressure system, clear skies. There is not a cloud in the sky. It was really nice outside. There was a few maybe higher altitude clouds, those little wispy clouds as you saw outside. But pretty much really nice outside. Really with the big picture we're going to be talking about, what's going to be coming closer to our area is this frontal system that's going to slowly start building up into the weekend, which will bring more of that cloud cover, pushing that high pressure system away and bringing in that cold front in by the weekend. There's that futurecast showing that cold front starting to build up as these winds are coming up from the south, fueling this cold front, bringing in a lot of severe weather into the area and bringing that cloud cover into the Tallahassee area by this weekend, which the Storm Prediction Center is showing that we're under a slight risk. So it's going to be a bit of a severe weather. We're going to probably have a couple thunderstorms, so make sure you have your umbrella. I would suggest staying indoors, but if you do have to go out, make sure you're careful on the roads. That will be wet, but pretty much it's going to be weather for the rest of the week ahead. There's that rain chance, so as I said earlier, your umbrella is going to be your best friend for the next 4 days. That rain chance will come up. We had only that low of 49 on Friday, so That's going to change once we get to the rest of the week. It's going to start being pretty much a little bit more warmer lows at 60, 57. But once that rain moves out or that cold front moves away, we're going to have that sun come back out. Our lovely friend sun is going to come back out, and it's going to warm up by Thursday. So it's going to be a really nice week ahead, but for the weekend, it's going to be eh. But for now, I'm going to send it over to Sammy with our national.
All right, thank you, Sarah. So we are actually looking at that front, but before it reaches here in Tallahassee, we have an entire frontal system moving its way through the U.S. So temperatures right now are pretty consistent throughout the majority of the southern half of the U.S. I mean, we're talking 75 here in Tallahassee, 73 over in Dallas, Albuquerque, 69. But as you go north, that's where you are seeing 24 over in Billings, Montana, and Seattle. They are dealing with some rain, and that is 54 degrees for Seattle. So we could see that these conditions are pretty frequent around the Texas area. So they are seeing a lot of rain right now, and there's a frontal system moving through over by Chicago right now, making its way into Ohio. And the other big frontal system is over in Portland, Washington, and especially over in California, making its way through. So as you can see, this is a lot of rain making its way through the majority of the northern half of California, moving its way through into Nevada. So this is up until right now, and it will slowly move its way across. So this is actually a flood aerial watch. So they are getting a decent amount of rain throughout the majority of the north. So be careful if you are traveling over near the ocean and throughout Northern California. But going further into the other half of the front, you could see some rain, even some mixed conditions moving into snow, making its way through Illinois, Indiana, all the way into Ohio right now, especially into the southern border as well. So we also have this winter weather advisory making its through, especially through Montana. You could see a lot of this snow, kind of like wet snow, but it is bringing temperatures a lot colder. And hopefully a high pressure system will make its through there as well. So we actually have a winter storm watch making its way through all 6 states here. So we have West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, making its way all the way through. So that is a winter storm watch. So be careful if you are driving near that area or going to that area anytime soon. But moving forward through Friday into Saturday, you could see some of these conditions, thunderstorms, picking its way up through the southeast, and that's where you could see the majority of that front swooping its way through the U.S. But the Storm Prediction Center is actually predicting thunderstorms throughout, mostly in Houston, Dallas. You could see they have a more of an enhanced prediction center, or prediction, and making it through all the way through our area. But tomorrow's conditions, you're going to see the thunderstorm start to make its way through and slowly make its way through the southeast. But now we're going to take it over to the desk.
Thanks, Sammy. So one of the things I wanted to know from Sammy's national forecast is that we do have the severe risk in the central of the country, but also in Tallahassee as we head into Saturday.
Yeah, for you viewers at home, you might not know what a slight risk would entail, so we're going to provide you with some of that information for you guys to be more knowledgeable about it.
Yeah, so we have general thunderstorms, which are normal thunderstorms we experience usually in the summertime, but once we go into the marginal and slight risk, you start to get severe thunderstorms, meaning you have the higher possibility of damaging winds, large hail, and then the more likelihood for a tornado. But once you get to a slight, doesn't mean a tornado is likely.
There is the possibility for a tornado. The National Weather Service defines a severe thunderstorm as having an inch diameter hail, also having winds of gust winds up to 58 miles per hour, and the chance of a tornado.
Yeah, so you saw that in Arkansas, Tennessee, they have an enhanced risk, meaning they have the damaging winds very likely, the large hail very likely, and the tornado threat is higher. In Tallahassee, we're in a slight risk, meaning the damaging winds and hail is likely, but a tornado is less likely to happen here because the conditions aren't favorable for that. So the main focus for a slight risk is just the winds and damaging hail is likely. But we'll get more into that as we head later into the show and into tomorrow, as well as we'll have a better handle of what we're going to expect Saturday.
Yeah, you're going to take it out, talk about Ohio. Dr. Alquist's
Oh,
home
no,
state.
not Ohio.
Oh,
Iowa.
Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa. Nice job, Dylan, knowing where Dr. Alquist is from. That's not great, but let's look at Iowa. The capital of Des Moines is right now cloudy at 54 degrees, and there's an interesting feature in Iowa. Just stay tuned for just a second, because the dew points are actually low across Iowa. That's because they're in the colder air. They're north of the front. So they're in the drier and colder air, so as a result, the dew points are pretty low in the 20s and 30s across the entire state of the Hawkeye State. Now, the wind speeds, they're moderate, like 14 in Sheldon, 13 in Sioux City. But as you go down towards Des Moines, look at the direction of these winds. They're counterclockwise. So if you know meteorology, you have a low pressure system here, those counterclockwise winds around the low pressure system. We have a low pressure system in the center of Iowa right now, so that's pretty neat to see on here. And that's actually part of the low pressure system that's going to affect our weather as we head into Saturday. Now, because of the low pressure system situated over the middle of the state, they're having a lot of cloud cover and some shower activity, so that's why it's pretty settled over the state right now. Futurecast does depict that well, how clouds stay over the entire state of Iowa because of that low pressure system and the attached cold front to that low pressure system. But once that cold front moves through, it does clear out. Tonight, it's going to be cold, 12 in Fort Dodge, 16 in Des Moines. Tomorrow, not really warm, 25 in Fort Dodge, 30 in Des Moines. It's still cold across the north. That's a summary of Iowa. But for now, let's send it off to Dylan with some trivia.
Thank you very much, Michael. We're going to talk about tornadoes here in Tallahassee. It's Thursday, and we have our trivia question. And our trivia question relates to tornadoes since we are in a slight risk, which there are a possibility for a tornado here in Leon County. And our question is, what year was the last confirmed tornado in Leon County, Florida? And our four choices are 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018. So you can find the question on our trivia at twitter.com/FSU weather. You can also play along at home if you don't have a Twitter, and just tune into tomorrow's show. We're going to reveal the answer on that show, so just make sure you tune in. But this is some good information. You want to know when the last tornado was. Are we going to see one? What's the likelihood? We are in a slight risk, so just make sure you are prepared just in case there is one. So stay aware with your local meteorologist and the National Weather Service for information on Saturday with that slight risk. Right now, we're going to send it back out to the wall with Sammy to look at the local.
Thank you, Dylan. So right now, no prediction of any storms, but for today, our high was 76 degrees, so right around average, and that low just a little bit below average of 44 to that average of 50 degrees. So we could see the local temperatures are pretty much 75 and sunny throughout the entire Big Bend. So very nice outside. 75 for Tallahassee, like I said. Marianna, 70 degrees. In Wilma, a nice hot 78 degrees. So the big picture, though, here throughout the majority of our local forecasts is this dew point. These dew points are very low compared to what it was yesterday. I mean, we're talking about 33 in Tallahassee, 30 in Wilma, and 40, 45 near the coast. They're having a little bit more moisture due to the water below them. But so that was the dew point dropping significantly, making it feel very dry. Another thing to look at is pretty much nothing on our radar. Not much came through our area today, but we will see those clouds making its way through starting on Saturday and even Friday as well. But if we kind of broaden that out, you can see that these storms are making its way throughout the southeast and slowly making its way through Georgia and here in Florida as well. And our futurecast is showing these conditions, like I was saying, moving through into Friday morning, but slowly creeping its way through, especially into Friday night and into Saturday morning. But that Storm Prediction Center is seeing these thunderstorms making its way through, like the guys were talking about before. We will be in a slight risk, so that is something to keep a lookout for the next few days. But into tonight, you can see temperatures are going to be pretty comfortable, around 61 degrees here in Tallahassee, 62 over in Perry. But Mariana and Wilma are going to be just a little bit warmer over at 64 degrees and 66, 67 in Apalachicola near the coast. And into tomorrow, beautiful, nice and sunny out, 80 degrees here in Tallahassee, 81 over in Wilma, and just a little bit colder towards the coast, 74, 75, just kind of like how we had it here in Tallahassee today. But your Friday's planner consists of temperatures. It can be very, very chilly in that morning. You're going to need a jacket, but you're going to slowly shed off those layers because around 4 p.m. you're going to hit that high of the day of around 80 degrees. And into the week ahead, we only have Friday being very nice, but Saturday, Sunday, into Monday, you have that increased chance of rain and even thunderstorms for Saturday. So make sure you have those your plans thought about for the weekend. But into Wednesday, Thursday, and into the remainder of the week, you are going to see some better conditions here. So now we're going to take it back to the desk to close the show.
Thank you, Sammy. We're taking a look at those rain chances. That's the big thing. You're going to need the raincoat throughout the entire weekend and into next week.
Yeah, if you're going outside, you definitely need the raincoat, but I'm planning to stay indoors.
Yeah,
so.
It's a good indoors day. Just make sure you guys stay precaution at home. Just take your precautions. Know your safe space. We talked about that yesterday on the show, your safe place selfie. But just make sure you have plans in place for some severe weather, just in case.
Yeah, the severe weather threat on Saturday is looking to be a pretty decent chance. Not as high as in Arkansas and Louisiana,
Right.
but still there's a chance for severe weather. So we just want to keep you informed on the weather for Saturday.
Yeah. After that, things kind of get better. I know there's that second front on Monday, but then by Wednesday, hey, you're back into the 80s and feeling pretty decent and clear skies.
Yeah, it will get much better. So don't forget to follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather. We'll keep you updated if there is any warnings on Saturday on Twitter.
Yeah, definitely. You can also follow us on Facebook and on YouTube. We post content there. Our social media goes up after the show.
Yeah, and then also don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather. The big story, there's no rain, it's pollen and all the growth out there. So
yeah, but for all of us here at FSU Weather, we want you to stay safe and have a good weekend and stay dry.
I'm student meteorologist Michael Annan.
I'm student meteorologist Dylan Leith. Have a great night.